Staff Susie Wiles plans a meeting on presidential security to examine Saturday's response.
A senior White House official says Wiles is expected to meet early this week with leaders of the Secret Service and the Homeland Security Department to talk about, quote, protocols and practices for major events involving President Trump. The official also says the president and the White House stand by the leadership of the Secret Service.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Meantime, Britain's King Charles and Queen Camilla sticking to their schedule for a U.S. visit, including tea at the White House later today. On Iran's latest offer to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, Secretary of State Rubio tells Fox's Trey Inks.
They cannot normalize, nor can we tolerate them trying to normalize a system in which the Iranians decide who gets to use an international waterway and how much you have to pay them to use it.
A U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a couple of thunderstorms in the area with some potentially severe. The sky will be filled with thick clouds and it will be windy. These thunderstorms may result in flooding downpours, hail, and damaging wind gusts. The temperature will reach a high of 69 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. For over a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we're proud to welcome the editor-in-chief of Breitbart News to Cigar Night. He's Alex Marlowe, and he'll join AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson on Tuesday, May 19th at Gobridge Farm in Pingree Grove for a night you won't forget. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Liberty Cigar Company.
Our founders believed that freedom wasn't just a word. It was a way of life. The freedom to move, the freedom to pursue what matters most, the freedom to live fully. But pain has a way of taking those freedoms from us. That's why Relief Factor exists. My pain had become so bad years ago that I couldn't paint, I couldn't work, I couldn't sleep. I was barely holding on. I was losing hope until my wife forced me to try Relief Factor. I didn't think it would work because it's 100% natural, drug-free, blah, blah, blah. But it absolutely broke the back of my pain. It might work for you. Over 1 million Americans have found relief and reclaimed parts of their life they thought were behind them. So this year, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, ask yourself the simple question: are you living with the freedom you deserve? Relief Factor gives you the opportunity to live pain-free. Get your life back, the life you'll love. Try Relief Factor today. $19.95, 3-week quick start. Ready for you now. ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way.
Ow!
And affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, a friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
All right. It has happened again. We have yet another preventable crime in Chicago. This time, 2 Chicago police officers shot, one fatally. Another one is in critical condition. I've told he's on life support at Advocate Illinois Masonic Hospital. Of course, if you've have been living under a rock, you've heard about this story because it's so disturbing. A 7-time felon escaped from electronic monitoring and killed a Chicago police officer and gravely wounded a second. Alfonso Talley, they finally released his name, Jeannie, and he's going to be in court in a few hours from now. He's expected to be charged with 2 cases of first-degree murder and many other offensive, but he's a 7-time escape felon. He has been begging this judge, Judge John Like, not once, not twice, but 3 times, to put him on electronic monitoring. The 3rd time he said, but I need to attend classes at Truman College. So
give me a break.
To set the table, this happened Saturday morning. He was allegedly violently robbed a Family Dollar store on West Lawrence, then took off. Police got him. And as per usual, when they arrested him, this is his MO. He always says, oh, I don't feel good. I have chest pains. The 2nd time he said he had to go to the hospital because he swallowed a bag of crack. So that's his MO. So he goes to the hospital and is treated first, then goes to jail, and then goes in front of this judge who releases him and has released him 3 times now. Again, Judge John Like, L-Y-K-E is his name, because I wonder if he feels like you know what this morning.
Well, the alleged shooter is only age 26.
He looks like he's 40.
I mean, as you said, he's got quite the rap sheet by the age of 26.
And we don't even know his juvie record. You know, we know that he lived in an orphanage at Lawrence Hall, been there several times when he was growing up. So you know right there that he had not a normal upbringing, not a normal mom and dad, because you go there as an orphan.
Well, and that's where I think we need to go, quite frankly. I think he needs to become a case study as to how the system has failed him, how his parents and relatives have failed
They
him.
gave up on him.
They have failed him, and they failed him from a very early age. He's 26, all these felonies. And by the way, he's the 5th person accused of killing or trying to kill someone in Chicago this year, while on felony pretrial trial release, according to CWB Chicago. And since CWB Chicago began tracking such data in 2020, people on pretrial release have been charged with murdering 2 Chicago police officers, 1 Chicago firefighter, and trying to murder 30 Chicago cops. We have a problem, I think, with pretrial release.
So Saturday morning when he was being examined, and you've seen the video of him, or the picture of him naked running through the street has gone viral because it's disturbing. What I was told was that he was in the examination room. Well, first of all, let me say that he was supposedly patted down 3 times. When he was picked up, then when he entered the hospital, the hospital Swedish Covenant even said that they wanted him down, did not find a weapon. And then the 3rd time is supposed to be when the 2 officers are in the room. I have been told by several sources that he may have hid the weapon in either a fat fold or between his butt cheeks. And that is how he was able to get a gun. Now, there's a possibility, because we don't know, the investigation is ongoing. There was a tech in the room who yelled gun, and he apparently shot 10-year CPD veteran father John Bartholomew fatally in that room. And the other officer, we know his name, but we're not going to release it. He's a 57-year-old man. He's been on the force for 21 years. He was shot in the mouth, and the bullet landed at the top of his spine. He's lost brain fluid, I heard. But yesterday they said he moved a little bit. So where there's life, there's hope. He is still listed in critical condition. And, again, where there's life, there's hope. So with that and much more, let's welcome to the program former Chicago Superintendent Eddie Johnson. Good morning, Mr. Johnson. How are you?
Good morning. It's time. But I guess I'm good as you can be with something like this.
Yeah, so let's start. I know the investigation is going on. There's so many questions, but every day suspects are taken to the hospital, whether it's Stroger Hospital or Sinai Hospital or Illinois Advocate. So how this time was he able to get a gun into that examination room?
Yeah, so that's the $1 million question. So, in speaking to some folks, they're still trying to figure out how he was able to secrete that weapon. Now, I would tell you this. Years ago when I was a patrolman, I remember a guy who was taken into custody had a similar build, and the lockup keeper noticed he had a string around his neck, and he had the weapon secreted in between the folds of his chest. So that's a possibility, or in his butt cheeks, So it's just, they're going to have to really investigate this and see how this guy was able to do this, and then, put some protocols in place. But I tell you this, Amy and Jenny, here's the sad part. I can tell you for a fact, these officers are afraid to search like we used to search back in the day because they don't want to get into trouble. This anti-police sentiment has to stop because it costs police officers their safety and potentially their lives. And I'm just sick of it. And then, you look at, they hold police officers accountable for everything they do. Judges should be held accountable too. They act like gods in those courtrooms, and some of them are really good, but to continuously let a felon out, a violent felon, is just unacceptable and ridiculous. So I think that we need to look at our policies once again, and we need to hold these judges accountable because this guy shouldn't have been out on the streets to be able to commit a crime like this.
Yeah, but what about the Safety Act? I mean, that needs not to be amended, but it needs to be gone, I think. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Safety Act, I was never a fan of it. I don't, listen, if you're a non-violent criminal, I'm okay with pretrial release and things of that nature. But you do anything violent or with weapons, then you should stay your butt right there until it's adjudicated. If you don't like that or you don't want to do that, then don't commit the crime. But I think we need to either abolish it or at the very least amend it because this is ridiculous that we've gone so far to the left that we're, I cannot believe how people are advocating so roughly for these violent offenders, and they forget about the victims of the crime these people perpetrate. So we need to there's a lot of room in the middle, Amy, and that's where we need to be.
Well, Superintendent Johnson, I'm very disturbed by this because I know we spend a lot of money on, daycare, paid for, taxpayer-funded preschool, after-school matters, midnight basketball, violence prevention grants, free college for anybody. How about a job in the solar industry? We have so many programs to help exactly the type of person that Tally is. And yet, in my opinion, it's all a waste of money.
Here's the thing, Jenny. People have to want to be helped. We can't force help on them. And I've said so many times, you're absolutely correct. We have a ton of programs out here already. Go find one and try to help yourself. But at the end of the day, what people have to understand, we can have a million programs out here, but if that individual does not want to be helped, then that's all for naught. And I will say this until the day I die. Criminals that commit these crimes, it's not about the sentencing and things of that nature that stop them from doing it. It's the certainty of a consequence. That's what prevents them and make them think twice. It's the certainty. You don't see a lot of these things happening out in DuPage County because they know if they go out there and commit crimes, there's going to be a real consequence. Cook County, don't get me wrong. Like I said, we have good judges, but our system is a joke. It takes forever to get, a case through the system. That's the first part. But the second part is we find so many reasons to be soft on these violent offenders, and it sickens me. some people need to be in prison, and that's just the way that is, and that's I've never been a fan of mass incarceration and things of that nature, but some people need to be in prison. If you want to go out here and commit violent crimes, then you need to be dealt with. So the Safety Act needs to be gone, or at the very least, amended, and there has to be consequences to these crimes. Otherwise, the people that do it, we can't wait for them to age out of wanting to do it. We have to show them that we're serious and hold them accountable.
Well, if anybody else had been charged with what he had been charged with from an incident on October 21st, 2017, then they would have still been in prison. He was charged with displaying a firearm and robbing 3 men as they stood on the Red Line platform at Grand on October 21st, 2017, when he was 17 years old. Okay, and I mean, by all rights, he had 7 years of consecutive sentences at the time that he was still out on electronic monitoring. He should have still been in prison. He was let out apparently early.
Yeah, after he attacked a Cook County Jail correctional officer, and they still let him out. I mean, if you read this, we don't have enough time. This is an hour-long show. We don't have enough time to read his entire arrest record. That's how sickening this is. And the fact that he must have had a relationship with Judge Like because he was in front of him all the time to tell him, like, you know what, let me out this time. And Judge Like, the last time around that he saw him, he begged for hours off electronic monitoring so he can go to Truman College. Do you think he went to Truman College? I mean, I'm just asking.
What if we had 3 strikes and you're out, Superintendent?
Say that again?
What if we had 3 strikes and you're out? Like, you are going to serve your time.
That's right. It's sickening, and Judge Like needs to be held accountable. Now this is what sickens me also. I go on national programs and talk about these types of things, and it just really pisses me off when I hear people say, well, Chicago, Cook County, they had the toughest gun laws in the country, but they're still suffering from gun violence. On paper, we may have, but when you dig into the details of our gun laws, they're really soft because we figure out all kind of ways to not hold these folks accountable. If you don't want to go to prison for having a gun you shouldn't have, then don't be out there with it. And we just need to come back to the center with this thing and stop, advocating for offenders so harshly and come back to having some kind of empathy and compassion for the victims of these crimes. Do you really think this guy was going to school? And if this judge really thought that, then he's just a joke.
Well, you're right. You're right about that. What a lie. Yep. It's all lie. And I just can't wait for Cam Buckner to come up with his next, gun confiscation bill, thinking that that's going to solve anything. These people are a joke. The legislators are a joke. The Democrats in Chicago are a joke, and they need to be voted out of office.
And I'll tell you this. I remember when the whole ShotSpotter thing was going on, and I was out here campaigning to keep it. I'll never forget this. One day, a gangbanger walked up to me, and he recognized me, and he was laughing, and he said to me, I can't believe the mayor wants to get rid of ShotSpotter. We can't wait until that's done. So don't think for a moment they don't pay attention to what we're doing. If we are elected officials, public officials, our job is to keep this city safe. And any tool out there that can help us do it, we should be using it and utilizing it. Money shouldn't be a factor in keeping every inch of this city safe. And it's just a joke to me how goofy things have gotten now. We have to go back to being tough on crime. I'm all for trying to rehabilitate people, but some people can't be rehabilitated. I don't know this guy, but this guy's record clearly indicates he shouldn't have been out there on the street. And the judge that let him out should no longer be a judge, in my opinion.
Wow. And what about Governor Pritzker? He's been very silent. I know Mayor Johnson came out and spoke, but he had to. He was with, Superintendent Snelling. But yeah, where's Governor Pritzker?
Yeah, the folks that are responsible for these things, they do get small when this kind of stuff goes on. Now, I will say in full disclosure, Governor Pritzker and I had a really good relationship while I was superintendent, and I wish I could speak to him now. because, you know, the very people that we pledge to protect, we're actually harming them by not being tougher on crime. There's a way to hold these people accountable and not be barbaric about it. But some of these folks, I tell you, that's what they deserve. They really do, because their thought process in terms of how they view life is clearly not there. So we need to meet them on their own terms and hold them accountable. And I will always say that, you know, because some people, this person that committed this crime clearly should never see the light of day again in his life. He shouldn't.
All right, former Superintendent Eddie Johnson, always a pleasure. I've horrible circumstances to have you on for, but thank you so much for your expertise and your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
All right, God bless you. Coming up, he witnessed a street takeover, and he will be here to talk about it. We'll explain.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story. Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. I got to tell you, Superintendent Johnson, I love that man. And I loved when he was superintendent. I know that the rank and file really like Snelling as well, our current superintendent, but he's right. That judge today, I don't know how that judge, John Like, could have slept last night. How could he look himself in the mirror in the morning and think, oh, I'm going to go now back to the job, put my robe on, and be Mr. Tough Guy? Well, was it because he's black and the suspect's black? I mean, it's just, the whole thing is so upsetting.
Sorry, I blame the legislators and I blame the voters. That's where I am, Amy. Yeah, they put people like Judge Like in power.
Mm-hmm. And I thought when Chief Evans was gone, I thought it'd be better, and it's only gotten worse. But then you think, Jeannie, when is enough for people to wake the hell up? Who else has to be killed? Does your own child have to be killed? Or it doesn't make police officers slaughtered, and the Safety Act is still here.
Well, you know, they want to tell you, though, that murders are down, Amy. Murders are down. Crime's down. We shouldn't be so worried anymore in the city. But we should be, and we've got a friend of mine. He occasionally drives some Uber, and he came upon a street takeover. Oof. His name is Doug McGregor, and he joins us now to explain exactly what happened just early Sunday morning on Roosevelt Road, I believe.
Damon and Roosevelt. Yeah,
Damon and Roosevelt. Doug, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, glad to be here.
So tell us what you saw.
All right, so I picked up a Mexican guy who's 49. He told me that later when we drove away, and I'm taking him home to Oak Park. And I'm coming up north on Damon, and I could see up at the intersection something's going on. So I took my phone down, and I started recording. And when I got there, these two cars were doing donuts in the intersection, quite a big crowd, and it just seemingly went on forever. So I got there. I took 3 videos totaling 3 minutes, and it was already happening before I even got there. So there weren't any cops. And there were people standing dangerously close filming it, and I can't believe they didn't hit anybody. And then one car would disappear east on Roosevelt, and then they'd come back. So it kept going on and on and on. Finally, you hear sirens, and then people started getting in their cars and started to disperse. And there was a whole bunch of cops that came south on Damon towards me, and I'm like, all right, how the hell am I going to get out of this intersection? And people were just going all over the intersection. The more hot rods, you couldn't tell who was who anymore. And then finally, I got through it and headed home. And the guy started, speaking. He said, I got 2 adult kids. Who raised these fools? So he's a guy that wants law and order like everybody else, but when the cops get there, it took forever to get there, for one thing. And then you can't tell who's who. So I'm sure nothing happened, and nothing will happen. This will happen again, and I'll watch it on Substance News or CWB or some other person on Facebook, and nothing happens.
So as an Uber driver, you must encounter bad behavior on the roads all the time. Do you ever give your film or video to police?
No, because I don't have a dash cam. I would have to actually record. But as I've told you, on the expressways, and I'm talking, I could name every single one of them. Every single night this happens. This is not an exaggeration. There are cars doing well over 100, 120, I think some are even 150. If I'm doing 77 on 355 at 1 a.m. and everyone else is doing around 75, it's the same thing. And a car comes by me like I'm standing still. That car's doing twice what I'm going. And there's no state police. And it's on the Dan Ryan. It's on the Eisenhower. It's usually 3 Dodge Chargers. Here comes 1, 2, 3. I told you that on Saturday at 6 p.m. I'm driving from Franklin Park to Schaumburg on 290, and there was 8 cars doing well over 100 chasing each other. Jeez. So this is every night, every expressway, and sometimes they come up right behind you and go around you, and you didn't even see them. They came up so fast. So there's no deterrence. You don't see any state police because the roads are state police. Because even on the Eisenhower, I'll be driving and you'll see a cop and a car goes by, flying by, and they don't do anything. So, your previous guest said the same thing. Cops are afraid. I talked to one of the guys in Matt Rosenberg's book about this. He said that they sit in their cars. They're afraid to be proactive. I was at Freedom Summit a couple of years ago. I'm standing with Ted, and he's talking to a cop. Same thing. They're waiting for retirement. They'll go on their calls. No proactive policing because they're afraid they're going to become the next criminal.
Yeah, no, you can't blame them. Doug, we had to cut it short today, but I want to thank you so much for coming on, and keep up the reports from the man on the street. We'd like to hear more.
We'll take some Uber updates. All right, coming up next, a hate hoax. We'll explain.
Looking for a powerful way to support your immune system? Now's your chance to win a free bottle of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail made with 23 science-backed ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and natural nutraceuticals designed to support your body's natural defenses. 10 winners will each receive a free bottle. Hey, don't miss your shot to boost your wellness routine. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/immune. That's 560theanswer.com/IMMUNE.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. The suspect in Saturday's shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in D.C., Cole Allen, makes his first court appearance today.
We expect at least 2 initial charges. 1, using a firearm during a crime of violence, and 2, assault on a federal officer with a dangerous weapon. But we do expect more charges to be on the way.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Sources tell Fox Allen was initially talkative and cooperating, but not so much since. Iran offers a new deal to open the Strait of Hormuz to shipping traffic.
Iran demands demands that the U.S. end its blockade of ships to Iranian ports, and in exchange, Iran will reopen the Strait of Hormuz to international shipping. Iran says only after this would it negotiate with the U.S. about its nuclear program.
Fox business correspondent Lawrence Simonetti. President Trump and the First Lady welcome England's King Charles and Queen Camilla at the White House this afternoon. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect a couple of thunderstorms in the area with the possibility of some being severe. The sky will be filled with thick clouds and it will be windy. These thunderstorms may bring flooding downpours, hail, and damaging wind gusts. The temperature will reach a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. Try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. New energy refreshers, only at Starbucks.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Here are some of the testimonials of Virago users.
Hello. My name is Jim Thompson. I started taking Virago about a year and a half ago. I was diagnosed with a heart condition, and in fact, I was at the Cleveland Clinic applying for one of their trials. The bad news is that I was not accepted for the trial. The good news is that my heart was healthier than they wanted, and I believe that's a result of taking Virago. I can also attest that I have not had the flu or COVID since I started taking Virago. I can definitely attest to my satisfaction with staying healthy by taking Virago every day.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com.
And use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Penalties and interest are piling up every single day. Wage garnishments and bank levies could hit any moment. If you've been avoiding it out of fear, you're not alone. But waiting only shrinks your options and ramps up the stress. The truth is, the IRS settles with taxpayers every day through legitimate programs, and many qualify to reduce what they owe, in some cases by up to 99%. That's why thousands turn to helpwithirsdebt.com. They've guided over 120,000 Americans, resolved more than $2.3 billion in tax debt, and back every case with their ironclad resolution guarantee. If there's no real path forward, you get a full refund, no fine print. They even randomly select one qualifying client each year and pay off their entire IRS balance. Terms apply. Don't let another day pass. Go to helpwithirsdebt.com right now. It's fast, easy, and confidential. Find out what's possible today. Helpwithirsdebt.com. Once again, that's helpwithirsdebt.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 55 and with one of the big three carriers, like Verizon, you may notice they don't talk much about their 55-plus discounts. That's so customers like you keep paying their regular higher rates to boost their bottom line. You deserve better service. With 100% US-based experts, better value, with plans starting at $20, and a company that's built for people 50 plus, like me. Not convinced? Give your current carrier a call, ask about the 55 plus plan you've earned, see how long it takes to get a real person on the line, and if they try to talk you out of it. But if you want something better, call Consumer Cellular. We've got the same great coverage, and our US-based experts can get you switched in about 20 minutes. Switch now to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com for your second month free.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to The Real Story. Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Glad to have you back in studio. I know you're a little under the weather, and
I am.
And I'm staying away from you.
Yes.
I'm on this side because I don't want to get sick. You keep that. You know what I'm bringing you tomorrow? I'm bringing you Virago. And you're going to swish it in your mouth for 15 seconds. And I'm telling you, you're going to start the recovery process. Because I know you will not go to a doctor. That's a whole other
It's just a small cold I got because I was flying to California and back. It's a small cold. It's not a big deal.
All right.
I'll be fine.
Fine.
But yeah, I'll take your Virago. Might as well be a test.
Okay.
Okay.
You can be a guinea pig.
Right.
All right. So lots going on. I mean, with not only here, but nationally too. And this is a national story with local consequences.
Yeah. So the Southern Poverty Law Center obviously got indicted. And here's temporary or...
well, we call him the acting U.S.
Attorney,
Todd Blanche.
Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death of 1 person and injured dozens more.
And that also inspired then Joe Biden to run for president. Remember?
Yes.
He kept going on, and there's good people on both sides, and we can't have this. Well, the man that started the Unite the Right, he got paid $272,000. That's real money. But the demand for racism ran out.
Well, listen, I think the SPLC may have taken their cue from the DNC because prior to the 2017 payoff of the extremists in Charlottesville, Project Veritas reported that the DNC was paying protesters at Trump rallies. And here's what that report was about. Like, this is from CNN reporting on CNN reporting on, however, they say that Project Veritas's head is, discredited journalist. But you know what? I think he's absolutely right. Here you go.
The undercover videos produced by discredited conservative activist James O'Keefe suggest it was Democratic operatives, hired political activists, working in coordination with the DNC to instigate violence and incite reactions at Trump rallies. And in one of the undercover videos, Scott Fovel, a subcontractor for a DNC-hired firm called Democracy Partners, supposedly explains just how he does it.
There's a script. Okay. There's a script of engagement. Sometimes the crazies bite, and sometimes the crazies don't bite. When they're outside the rally,
they're more affected out. They're harder to get in.
The media will cover it no matter where it happens.
I assume it's always in the rally.
Initiating the conflict by having leading conversations with people who are naturally psychotic. I mean, honestly, it is not hard to get some of these assholes to pop off.
Right.
It's a matter of showing up to want to get into the rally in a Planned Parenthood t-shirt, or, Trump is a Nazi. You can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you.
According to the undercover videos, it was this man the Democratic National Committee turned to organize the work. Bob Kramer is the husband of Illinois Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. He's part of a group called
Creamy Bob.
Yeah,
Jan
I just
calls
wanted to
him.
get that in because, there you go. You have Jan Schakowsky's husband who is helping set up all of these hate hoaxes. And now you've got the SPLC doing the same thing. Well, somebody who's on the SPLC website.
Oh, you mean put on the list? Because Turning Point USA was put on the list as a hate group, and a number of conservative organizations have been targeted?
Well, there's apparently 2 lists, and here to explain it all is the cultural and education writer for Breakthrough Ideas, Lori Higgins, and she joins us now. Thanks so much for joining us, Lori.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love talking about the SPLC.
Yeah, so you're on the naughty list. Do explain.
I am. Well, that was a really interesting story. So, I started working for Illinois Family Institute in the fall of 2008. In early 2009, I found out that Illinois Family Institute was on the SPLC's hate groups list, which seemed bizarre to me since obviously as a Christian organization, we were opposed to hate. And so I contacted them, and it turned out, and I talked to Mark Potok, who's very well known for those who follow the SPLC, and I talked to Heidi Byrick, who's also well known. Neither of them are any longer with the SPLC, but they were in charge of the intelligence report, is what they called their hate groups project. They are in charge of the hate map and the watch list. I am actually on their hate list, personally, me. And so they told me that the Illinois Family Institute was on the hate list for one very short article. I mean, I think it was like a paragraph that was posted in 2005 by a previous executive director. And so I asked, were we put on the hate list in 2005? And Potok said, no. We were put on it in late 2008 or 2009, which was right after I started working for it, and I was writing a lot about homosexuality. And so they said, well, if you take down that one short article, not written by anyone who worked for Illinois Family Institute, and it wasn't a hate article, it was just an article that said that homosexual men had a shortened lifespan. That was all that it said. And they said, well, if you take it down, we'll take you off the hate list.
Oh my
So I essentially called their bluff. We took down the article, and they took us off the hate list for a few months, and then suddenly we're back on. I also challenged them. At the time that they created this hate list, this hate map, they had zero criteria for determining what puts an organization on their hate list. Zero criteria. And so I pointed that out in an article, and then shortly thereafter, they manufactured some criteria so elastic that any group that they didn't like, they would be able to put on. And if you go to the article, I won't take up the time here because we have a lot to talk about, but you can go to my article from at the end of last week or middle of last week, where I list a few of their criteria, which were absurd and had nothing to do with hate at all.
Well, Lori, this is also part of a larger hoax, right? Because the SPLC was feted by, the government, the donor class, the Democrats. This was their go-to list.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but after the Unite the Right, they raised $8 million. So they had to have a problem. People weren't being racist enough. They needed racist things to happen, and they manufactured them in order to survive, to get donations.
But the government also used them.
Yes, this is in order to make money, and not for the little people, and not for the people who are really experiencing genuine kind of oppression or persecution. This is to make money for the organization. And the organization has been, first of all, regarding money, they are the wealthiest nonprofit in the country with a net worth of about $730 million. $100 million to $150 million are in offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. That sounds legit, doesn't it? So, yes, the federal government has been using the SPLC as a resource for years and years, both the Department of Justice and the FBI, in fact, paying them to come in and provide anti-bias training to government employees. And I'd written about this before that people weren't paying enough attention to. The SPLC also has an education arm that used to be called Teaching Tolerance. I discovered that in 2021, they changed it to Learning for Justice. My theory is that the reason they changed it because teaching sounds a lot like propagandizing and it's an active act as opposed to learning is something that we're all sort of passively doing. But so they have a free newsletter that educators all over the country would subscribe to that actually listed activities that they could do in their classroom, all promoting leftist ideology. But here's the interesting thing. In their new Learning for Justice, one of their chief podcasters is an associate professor at Ohio State University whose name is, and you might recognize this, Hassan Kwame Jeffries, the brother of Hakeem Jeffries, and he's considered more leftist than Hakeem Jeffries is.
I mean, so did you ever try so you got off you were on the list, you got off, you got back on. Did you ever try to get off a second time, or at that point it just doesn't matter, or maybe now it's a badge of honor?
Well, it is a badge of honor, and no, we didn't bother trying it. And there was no way. After they came up with their, what do they call it? Their criteria were called 10 known falsehoods. If an organization promotes what they consider known falsehoods, then they're on the hate list. And there was no point in, if you can't get, well, it's either they have two lists. One is the hate list and one is the extremist group. And organizations like Liberty Council, Alliance for Defending Freedom, Prager University, they're all on it. They're not going to take them off.
That is
and they're
so
not
crazy.
Illinois family.
Hey, I'm asking you both a question, and we're speaking on the line is Lori Higgins from Breakthrough Ideas. Do you think that the SPLC paid people to be agitators on January 6th?
Do you want to? I'm not going to speculate on that. Can I add one other point before Please. I forget, which is the organization has been harshly criticized by leftists for years. And I'll just read three really quick quotes.
Sure.
The Nation, which is far left wing, referred to Morris Dees as the arch salesman of hate mongering years ago. There's a professor. He's shared by both Yale and Georgetown law schools, and his name is Stephen Bright. He called Morris Dees, who again is the founder of SPLC, a shyster and a con man. And Real Clear Politics, Carl Cannon, wrote about him. This was in 2017. He said, for the past 47 years, Morris Dees has been selling fear and hate. This is how long leftists have been accusing this organization of being a shyster organization.
Oh, I got to tell you, though, I think that the fraud that has been revealed with the SPLC is part of the broader fraud that we're going through, like a reset on, a counter-revolution on, whether it's the DEI fraud, the transgender fraud, the sanctuary state fraud. All these things are really becoming revealed to Americans, and that's a good thing. And I don't think as a whole that Americans hate each other. I think it's been stoked by the leftists, and especially groups like the SPLC. They need this type of hate among people. And like we just heard from, Doug, our caller, about he called him a Mexican guy who was driving around and said, look, where are the parents in all of this? Like, people don't hate each other necessarily. They've been taught to hate by groups like the SPLC. And then the media has picked up on that and reported that, oh, this person's a hate monger. This person's on the SPLC list. And it's all a fraud. It's hate has no home hoax, times 10.
No, it is. And, the DEI, that whole DEI movement that really infected, I came out of public schools. I worked at Deerfield High School for a decade. All four of my kids went to Deerfield High School. I went to Deerfield High School. And they were, the last 3 years I was there, they were promoting this DEI stuff heavily. And that is about fomenting division and hatred, because all the organizations, and there's all sorts of ancillary, one person is Glenn Singleton. He had an organization called the Pacific Education Group, very well known. It's now changed to Courageous Conversations. That's who Deerfield High School was using. He makes his money on fomenting division and hatred between groups. That's how he makes his bread and butter. And when he came into the school, he said, there's going to be three responses to my theories. One is going to be a group that accepts it, one segment of the population here. He's talking about the faculty. be actually in District 113, which was Deerfield and Highland Park High Schools. The other group is going to have to be persuaded. And the third group is gifted at subverting reform. So if you had a legitimate criticism of his ideas, then you were gifted at subverting reform. And so it was a way to silence dissent, to silence criticism, because if people say, wait, I don't see all this. I don't see all this hatred and division in our schools, then he loses his money. Like that's how he makes his money. Do they really want to get rid of all this division in the country? The SPLC doesn't, because it's out of business then.
She's Lori Higgins. She's the cultural and education writer for Breakthrough Ideas. She's also still on the hit list, the Hate Has No Home Hoax SPLC website, and I'm proud of her.
Yep, me too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we got to take a break, and we'll be right back with your calls.
Phone calls, and also a Wisconsin brewery you need to avoid.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's the real story on AM 560. The Answer.
For 25 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has kept Chicago's commercial buildings warm and running smoothly. From schools and churches to high-rises and hotels, they provide the boilers, water heaters, and exhaust systems that contractors and engineers count on. Whether it's a replacement project or a new construction, Applied Mechanical helps you select the right equipment, standard or high efficiency, for your specific application. What sets them apart? They match the right Camas equipment to your building's exact needs, so it performs flawlessly through Chicago winters for the next 15 to 20 years. And they don't disappear after installation. Applied Mechanical ensures your systems run at peak efficiency year after year. Are you a degreed mechanical engineer looking to lead a growing sales team? They'd love to talk to you. Schedule a site visit and boiler assessment at appliedmechanicalsales.com. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
Picture warm Gulf breezes, turquoise waters, white sand beaches. Now, add evenings of conversation with Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, and Jennifer Horn. This November, sail from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Mexico on a 7-day journey built for those who love this country. Book your cabin today when you text the word cruise to 94878. Celebrate America's 250th anniversary the right way on the Gulf of America Cruise. Book your cabin now. Text the word cruise to 94878.
The mainstream media isn't just biased. They're hiding stories from you, deliberately. Restoration News is changing that. With elite researchers and fearless writers, Restoration News is the conservative media force fighting back in the information war for America's future. Download the Restoration News mobile app today or visit restoration-news.com. That's restoration-news.com. Real stories, real truth. It's time you knew what they don't want you to know.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, we're back, 312-642-5600. But Jeannie, I found Governor Pritzker.
You did?
So, yeah, a half hour after the shooting and the homicide and then the shooting of the other officer, he released a, he's on the lakefront because he's now like one of the kids, a little TikTok, Instagram, bashing Trump. Instead of talking about the horrific shooting that just happened, because he can't own that, because then he'll look responsible and then he'll have to change his way. If he says anything about the officers, he'll have to take accountability for the Safety Act.
Well, I think I saw that. He was in his neon lime green shirt because he's just so hip.
Yeah, that's what the kiddos are wearing today. But he didn't have any public appearances today because, he'd have to address the elephant in the room. But we just saw him on CNN. And guess what he was doing? Bashing ICE officers who were conducting operations in Chicago. So that's what he was doing. So that's your governor. 312-642-5600. Let's go to Dave in Crystal Lake. You're on The Real Story. Hi, Dave.
Good morning, ladies. Hey, I wanted to call regarding the hospital shooting. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, she's an ER nurse in DuPage County. And she says that, it's just all the time these criminals who get arrested, they claim that they're hurt, that they swallowed, like this guy swallowed crack or this, that, and they want to go to the hospital. So they take them to the nearest hospital. And these hospitals, they're not staffed with security to handle this stuff. This is a perfect example. And her suggestion, which I thought was really good, is that each county should have one designated hospital that is staffed appropriately with the right security where they can take these arrestees. Now, if there's someone with life-threatening conditions, paramedics know, and then they could override that. But for all these other people, I can't breathe, this, that type of stuff, they should have to go to a certain county hospital that's staffed. Pretty simple.
Yeah. I don't think we have the resources here. And if we did, that's
one hospital.
I know, but if you pick up somebody, near the Indiana border on O Avenue, you're not going to want to drive all the way north. You know what I'm saying? There's hospitals all over. That's why they use Christ. That's why they use Stroger. It's wherever, they pick up.
No, you're missing the point. The paramedics make that call.
Yeah. Okay.
They know. They put them on monitors. Their hearts are fine. They're breathing fine. It's BS.
Right.
They just want that out.
All right. Thanks, Dave, for the phone call. Appreciate it. Just so you know, too, let's take Ron real quick on the south side. Hi, Ron. How are you?
Hey, good morning, ladies. You know what? I respect Eddie Johnson and respect the things he said. But when he said he would like to talk to the governor, about what? Because what is the governor? I understand what Eddie Johnson is going to say. What does he expect Pritzker to say? Because like you said, Jeanne, you have to claim it. He's not going to say we're getting rid of the Safety Act. So I just had to say that talking to him would be a waste of time. Talking to him, talking to the mayor, talking to most Democrat elected officials is a waste of time. So thanks for letting me get that in, ladies.
All right, Ron, before we leave here real quick, I wanted to talk about this. Louisiana authorities charged a 17-year-old with murder, and they're searching for another suspect after bystanders were caught in the crossfire of a shooting at a mall in Baton Rouge on Thursday that killed one teenage girl. The shootings seem to be driven by social media beefs and maybe gang-related stuff. But I'll tell you what, Governor Landry in Louisiana is done. He's having none of it. And here's what he had to say about it.
In fact, people that go into common places and decide to engage in that kind of violence, we should put them away for life. I'm done with them. It doesn't matter how old they are. Somebody has failed. It's not the government's job to raise these people. It's common sense not to go into a public space with a gun and start shooting around blindly. We got 18,000 acres at Angola. If it's up to me, I'd send them all there for the rest of their lives.
Wow. Maybe that's what should have happened with this Talley guy. Age 26.
Yep, 7 times convicted felon. Okay, also, too, don't go to the Minocqua Brewing Company because they have they're promising free beer when President Donald Trump dies, and they brought that up again after the shooting, after another yet assassination attempt at the Correspondents' Dinner. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Enjoy your day if you can. Say a prayer for those officers. God bless, and God bless America.